to Guitar Carnivore. I am Scott, and today I have another tone tutorial for a classic heavy metal song, Quiet Riot's Bang Your Head, Metal Health. It is just one of those early 80 anthems that was just awesome. And if you haven't checked out this entire album, it is full of great songs. You got Breathless, Slick Black Cadillac, Let's Get Crazy, Come On Feel the Noise. I'm sure you probably heard that one, but check it out. And Carlos Cavazos' tone on this is just fantastic. So we're going to jump into it, but before I do, you can play this song in standard E tuning, but if you want to play along with the recording, you're going to have to dial it down about a quarter step. You adjust your sense to about 432, all right? Otherwise, it's going to sound a little bit off. So let's get to it. Going right over to the amp chain, I'm using amp chain 2-2 only because I've got a compressor before my booster, as I almost always do. So that's what we're doing here. For this tone, you're going to want kind of a high gain stack sound. So I put it on the lead, and I've got the gain cranked up to 88 and the volume at 89. So you might want to adjust your master volume down quite a bit here. And I've got the bass at 70, and this part right here, this is an integral part of this tone. You have got cranked mids, and the treble is kind of scooped. So that is just part of the tone. It looks weird, but it sounds good. Over here on the cabinet resonance, I've got vintage, and I've got my presence at 13. You don't really need to play with that, but I do have a noise suppressor on here set at 42. If you don't have that on, it's going to be a bit noisy. So if you're following along, set that up right now. Hitting up the boost, I got a clean boost going on with 29 on the drive and 50 on the effects level. You're not going to hear a huge difference in it, but it is there. Now let's play it with just the basic amp settings. Turn on the clean boost. Like I said, you're not going to hear a huge difference in that. So let's move on to the mod. Now the mod, I do have a compressor, and it is before the boost. So I've got the sustain set at 60 and the attack cranked up to 90, plus 8 on the tone, and the level's at 44. So you're going to hear... Again, you can't hear a huge difference, but it is there. Now on the effects, another integral part of this tone is the chorus. You got to have some chorus in here, and I kind of made everything identical across the board here. The low and high rates at 25, the low depth and high depths at 24. 4 milliseconds on both delays, and on the high level and low level I got it at 68. I left the crossover frequency right at 100 here, and the direct mix at 100. So without it, with it, it's starting to come together now, isn't it? On our delay, I just have a simple analog delay. I got 310 milliseconds on the time and 35 on the feedback, 40 on the level, and 100 on the direct mix. The high cut was probably already set at 5 when I opened it up, so that's just where I set it. Now, with it, that was without it. With it, you can hear it back there. Now on the reverb, I just got a simple room reverb on here, 1.7 on the reverb time, 98 milliseconds on the delay. I left the low cut flat, and the high cut, I don't know why I adjusted it to. You could leave it at flat. It might have been at 2 when I opened it up, I don't know. Most of the time, I just leave the low cut and high cut and density all the same, and I just use the effects level, the direct out, and the delay and reverb time. So I've got the direct mix at 100, the effects level at 50. So it's just a simple room reverb. And that's it for our effects. I didn't put any contour on here, any solo yet. Now over on the EQ, I did use a parametric EQ, but that was it. And I've got it amp out, 4 decibels on the low, 8 on the low mid, minus 17 on the high mid, plus 9 on the high gain, 2 on the level. Now I've got the low mid Q at 2 and the high mid Q at 4 across the bottom board. With the cuts, I've got 315 hertz on the low cut. The low mid frequency I've got at 1 kilohertz, 2.5 kilohertz on the high mids, and 8 on the high cut. That is much higher than I normally ever use it, but it seems to sound good. Let's hear it one more time without it. It sounds pretty good right there. Turn it on. It is a very heavy tone that's kind of weird because it's got a lot of chorus and a lot of mids and not a whole lot of treble. So you kind of got to dial some treble back in there in your parametric EQ just to kind of make it sound right. There are 3 tones in this live set. I've got the basic rhythm, I've got the clean, and I've got a solo in there. And I just based the solo off like the very first little tiny pinch of a solo in there right before the second verse. So now for the clean rhythm, real easy. I took a lot of the same settings that I had with the rhythm, and I just kind of tweaked them down a bit. I made some big differences, big changes over here in the parametric EQ, and in the regular EQ, I turned those mids down, and I actually turned the treble up. I left the presence here, but the mod, I used the same one, but I dialed back the attack. I did make some changes in the chorus here, and maybe a little in the reverb, and the cleans on this song are easy. It just starts up. I mean, you could get away with almost any clean tone on there as long as it, has a little bit of treble, as long as it kind of sticks out a little bit. So that's what I did with that. Now the solo, for the solo, I pretty much just took the rhythm and I added the solo to it, boosted it to 26, and I made some slightly minor EQ adjustments here. So I'll play just that one solo part I can play. It's not a huge difference, but it boosts the signal a little bit, and you can use that for the solo. But that's going to do it. I hope you like this tone. It was made by request not too long ago, and it was a song I already knew. So I figured, okay, I'll actually maybe learn how to dial the tone incorrectly instead of just using some basic tone. So that's what happened. That's what we got. I dig those old 80s tones, and this one's a lot different from a lot of them because of the mids and the trebles and all that chorus, and it just sounds fantastic. It's a fun one to play with. If you like this video, hit that like button for me. And if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe for more content just like this. I do have some bigger things coming to this channel. I can't say a whole lot right now, but tones are going to get a little fewer further in between, but I'm going to have some better gear reviews coming for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.